think, all of us.
Hello. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Humpday. For those who are online, a few do's and don'ts. Yeah, no swearing, be kind, no cussing, adult content, etc. You know, pretend your mum's in the chat, don't spam, and no harassment. So our cast today is we've got Roman, Michelle, Rachel, Lucas, Simon, and Mara. They'll be kind of here to take your questions. So please, if you're online, put a Q before the question, I believe.
Yep.
And then we'll also try and rotate between the people in the audience today. So so to kick off, I guess I'll just take the top one from the list. So I have a question. How do I create a 3D Rubik's Cube with Flutter? Who wants to take that?
3D guy.
Sounds an easy one.
Testing. Is that working?
Yeah.
Huh?
Okay. I suppose I direct you to Canvas Draw Vertices. That's the way that's all done. That's the way Philip, if he's here, that's the way he's doing it as well in 3D. And that's the way I did the 3D game stuff. So yeah, check that out, I guess.
I think there is a package for creating 3D cubes too. But
Perfect.
it's a cube. It's so simple. So draw it yourself.
Okay, sounds good. Anyone from the audience today got a question? Please raise your hand and we'll get a mic to you. Come on, Darren.
Any insights on when Firebase Analytics will support the GDPR compliant?
So we try not to answer GDPR questions as far as like analyzing and commenting on legal stuff. I have actually got a really interesting new development. There's on July 10th, they did do a new ruling from the EU. So I would definitely check that out to be able to say that, US is actually part of, it can be just as good as European countries as far as like where your data is stored and everything. So I would recommend checking that out and seeing if it fits your needs and if it meets your use case for why you're struggling with this or having this question.
Thanks.
Yeah.
This is cool because we often have to make the point that none of us work for Google.
Oh, I work for Google. I do. We just can't. It's always one of those questions that's always a difficult question to answer. We try our best and we point you to the resources to help you, but we can't make those interpretations for you and everything. Yeah, but good question. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Okay, cool. We'll take one from online. So is Flutter a good choice if your app needs to run in the background while closed, specifically making periodic checks, for example, to a Bluetooth device to check the status and disconnect once that status has been read?
Someone likes choosing the hard questions.
So
So Bluetooth in general is pretty difficult to get right, mainly because lots of devices, different stacks. But the other side of this is, I guess, is that Flutter in the background is still quite a difficult thing to achieve. There are example packages. So Android Alarm Manager, the Plus package, and there's also Firebase messaging that also does things in the background. You can use those as examples. There is a great package. I forget the name. I think it's called Flutter Background or Flutter Background Service. And it kind of helps you sort of achieve those goals. Roman,
Add to that, there's a great package called Foreground Background that you can actually handle that communication, but it also depends on how you architect it, how you build it. Because if you do it in an efficient way, you can even try to, not exert that many resources on your device. Remember, you're running it on a phone. So if that may even cause some degradation of your application. You want to create like great experiences. Remember, my focus is always to create delightful experiences for the users. So you try to do it in such a way that doesn't cause, doesn't wreak havoc in the application. But Flutter Foreground Background, that's a good package that you can use to handle those kind of issues. Yeah.
And just say it is just a difficult problem. First of all, you don't really want your mobile apps running in the background, consuming battery, using the cell network. So, try and avoid it where possible. Things like Android Alarm Manager work because it wakes up your device periodically to do those tasks. So as the questioner said, can I wake up periodically? That is the thing to use, but it is for Android. iOS, completely different problem, background.
Yeah, a good way to do it is, for example, piggybacking on what you just said, Simon, is like you can, let's say your application goes into the background, you can store some metadata, and then, for example, when it comes up again, you can restore some of that state, as opposed to like ensuring that your application is running in the background, consuming resources. So it depends on how you build it. Yeah.
Cool, thank you. Anybody from the audience? Yeah, Darren.
To Lucas, what will be the next step for Flame?
Oh, good question. So right now we're trying to stabilize the version we're having, and then we have gathered up a long list of breaking changes that we want to make, and then we're going to start to build version 2 of Flame, and it's going to take a long time before we're done. Especially like right now, I'm not working on any other contract or anything. So right now I'm like doing Flame full time. So hopefully that can speed things up a bit. But yeah, sometime next year we'll hopefully release Flame 2.
I've got a question. Is it a complete rewrite then, like from scratch?
No, it's not. But a lot of the internals will be rewritten. The component, like a lot to the user, a lot of the things will be similar. But from our perspective, we have to rewrite a lot of things. You can't do global set indexing, for example, in Flame right now. And that might seem like a very easy thing to solve for the user, but we have to write a completely different tree structure to render our data.
Looking forward.
Yeah. Okay.
And by the way, I love your cakes, man. Good stuff.
Okay. Straightforward one. Can we use npm packages as a Flutter web plugin? I guess the answer is yes.
Yeah. I mean, your Flutter project itself is not going to know anything about npm. It's not going to know anything about package.json. You can still do npm install. You can still ship your node modules directory, and you can still access that JSON from Flutter Web using the JS util JS bindings. So there should be no reason why you can't run any JS code in Flutter Web.
Yeah. You could also dynamically import from a CDN that hosts npm packages.
Yeah.
So Flutterfire Web actually does that. So when it starts, it just injects all the scripts from sort of npm or a CDN, and then we just literally call them from the JS interop.
Also, I wonder what is it that they want to do, what type of package from NPM they want to install. So I would actually go the Dart JS interoperability and do the communication through there.
I mean, there is a problem, in fact, if you depend on Node.js itself.
Oh, yeah,
some of the packages depend on
that's
Node.js.
pretty much the reason,
no.
yeah.
Okay. Anybody from the audience? Yeah.
Hi. Does anyone have any mad scientist ideas that you really want to do but can't find the time to do?
You see? Thank you.
Yeah, Philip had given a talk on that exactly mad science stuff. It was when the videos come out, you'll have to check it out. But it was definitely about kind of it actually sort of along with Roman's talk too of figure out what you want to do and do it. Don't figure out what you can do. Don't let what's possible and not possible stop you, and try things out. And they may be impractical. With Phillips, it may be impractical, but it may spark something either in yourself or someone else later when they say, "Oh, but I could do it this way." And so that's good. But do we have any projects for it?
I do, definitely.
Okay.
I got very inspired by Roa's talk. It was about creating random art. Super good if you saw that. And I really want to do some art project which uses procedural algorithms to generate cool images.
Not to detract away from Roa's talk, but Robert Felker has been the lead sort of in the community behind the generative art, and it's really amazing what you can do.
Yeah. I mean, if we're gonna, crazy projects.
All I can say is around those topics is, for example, us as community leads, we like to inspire other people, what to build. If you see the crazy stuff that I've built, I actually, try not to keep it all for myself. I like to share it with the community, because if I do, I'm doing a disservice to the community, and that actually is what drives innovation. So if I create something and I put it out there, it's actually for you guys to continue carrying it forward. So all the crazy ideas, we will keep coming up with those crazy ideas, but it's up to you to take those ideas, get motivated, and keep carrying them forward.
Yeah, I know I have a few things that I'm not sure are possible I want to do, but I can't think of one off the top of my head. But I know definitely there's quite a few things that come up in my crazy brain that just I want to go and say, oh, wouldn't this be cool?
Yes.
So
I remember another one thing I want to do. I want to build a full Flutter desktop environment for Linux. That would be awesome.
There's a couple of people already doing that.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I just want to finish off my 3D engine, but it's on hold until Impeller work is finished, because I'm just going to be rewriting it otherwise.
Cool. Okay, straightforward again. What can we do to get more contributions in the Flutter repository? Do not hold back.
well, I mean, all of you here in the room, I mean, you're all capable. You should, take a chance and do it. It's worth doing. And it could be finding a bug. If you find something that's wrong, it takes a little bit of effort to actually get a good bug report in, but that's worth doing. And then maybe you can go fix it, maybe you can't, but you've at least contributed, even if you've just put in a bug.
Yeah, or in the same vein, like if you have ideas and you have no idea how you could implement it, and maybe it's not possible, but leave an issue and explain what you're interested in or what you want to see happen, and maybe somebody on the team can pick it up, and maybe it's something that we're already working on. We can tell you about it.
Yeah. And to be clear, by out here, I mean everybody out here, like physically here, everybody that's online also.
I mean, another thing that anyone can do is, if you go look at the issues and you see an issue stalled, pick it up. Like comment, I can fix this. Can I write the tests for this? Because the author didn't write the test in the PR, so it needs testing. More hands make the work shorter.
Yeah. I want to plus one, like the like filing some kind of issue or a bug. You probably are not the only person experiencing whatever is going wrong or whatever you're wanting or anything like that. And so by filing something publicly, then you give a place for other people to add their voice to it and add their use case to it. And then it starts building in momentum for us to know why it's important for you and like why it's important for other people. And then we also have many more use cases to build ideas off of. And so like we can test those different use cases and build a better feature if we know what the voices of the people say. So please, 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 if you ever have anything, file it there. We'll take care of it. We'll do whatever it needs to do to be redirected, but definitely like add your voice to the community so that the community can comment on this and give us more information about what you're wanting or what you're experiencing. I'm talking about the Firebase SDKs, like repos, but it goes for everything, I think.
Yeah, and like documentation, shameless plug, is a great way to like contribute to a website or to a project. If you know how to do something and you notice that like it's not there in the documentation and it's something that you see a lot of people asking about out like in other places in the community, like on Discord or Twitter or whatever, like write a tutorial for something. We have huge holes in the documentation. We're always trying to fill them, and that's my favorite kind of community contribution for sure.
It would be pretty nice if like the Google repositories were a little bit more active in the Hacktoberfest that is starting in 1 week, for example, that they could just go through the issues, find a bunch of simple ones and tag them with Hacktoberfest, and then that can be an easy way to get more contributors into the code base. That's what we're doing on Flame.
Very good.
It works pretty well.
And one thing I don't hear people talk about that also could be helpful is if you're using a feature and you get wind that it's coming up, like maybe it's in beta now or something. If you're in a place where you can do that, go ahead and update to the beta channel and try it. And because if there's a problem, then you'd rather find it earlier. If it's going to have issues with you, you'd rather know it earlier, whether it's for you to fix, what you've got to do to change a breaking change, or if there really is a problem, you can get that filed earlier instead of waiting until it comes out and you have to do that. So
yeah, that's actually a really big thing that we're trying to like enforce or encourage nowadays. Is we want people using the beta channel. We want like all the feedback, like. We want like you to use beta all the time and tell us everything that's happening, because it makes our stable releases better. So that's a great avenue to like start learning about stuff and find ideas to contribute. Yeah, even just your questions and your feedback from like trying beta is so helpful.
I was just going to add that there is actually dark experiments and other experimental modes you can switch on and off. So if you want to try these things out early on and give your feedback about what you think about the new feature, that's also welcome as well.
Cool, thank you. Anybody from the audience got a question? Yeah.
Continuing topic of map development, can we say there is good or bad tech writing? I think, Maria, it's mostly to you. Good or bad tech writing, like contributing to community while writing tech articles. Maybe it's not the smartest, but it could spark someone. Or
I think there's things you can do before you start contributing, especially like if it's a large amount of writing, like, you know, check if the information's already out there, like maybe don't repeat it, especially if it's on the website. But I don't know, even if I get a contribution that's like not in perfect shape to be put on the website right away, like it's so exciting because somebody did half my work or even a quarter of my work for me, and now I can work with them and like get something new out there. And yeah, just new content, more content is good. I don't know if there's bad tech writing. Everything gets edited by like everybody, so yeah.
I think it might also be something where you don't want to necessarily contribute. Think of like your code. You don't want to contribute like a huge rewrite of code, right? Your PR would never be a rewrite of a huge chunk of code without checking with someone first. And so like that iterative kind of process is important, in that collaborative kind of process for like, hey, is this change and then this change and this change, is this good idea, to be able to get that collaboration and make sure this is actually something that's wanted and needed at that scale, especially if it's something big. In the same way, you wouldn't want to do that to like a big piece of content. You want to completely rewrite it without maybe collaborating with someone and kind of touching base a little bit. So maybe try like think about it in the same way you would like code. You wouldn't contribute a huge rewrite without necessarily like checking in that it was accurate and needed and everything.
What I do is I will even like submit a PR just like as a draft and just make the outline of whatever it is. If it's something large that I want to write, like a whole new piece of content, and then I'll ask people like, does this outline make sense? Does it make sense to put it here? Does this topic make sense? And then I'll like actually do the writing if people like sign off on it, like code, yeah, like anything.
Thank you. Thank you.
I was going to say, I might even say, even if the answer is yes, don't let that stop you though.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I won't stop. And the second question will continue regarding contribution to the community. I had submitted the bug and it was not really prioritized, and actually I'd like to contribute, but I'm facing issues with connecting to Flutter Discord channel and contribute to Flutter GitHub when it can be simplified, if you know.
I know that we're working on like, not like totally revamping our GitHub process, but like just adding labels and adding GitHub actions and doing things so that we can be aware of like what's going on, so that things don't go stale. Like that's a huge priority that like some of my teammates are working on. Yeah, it is like, it's not great. There's like 4 of us, at least for the documentation. But yeah, you keep it alive, like keep, you know, like commenting on it, adding your changes. Yeah, I'm not sure about SDK contributions, how that usually goes down. But if it's documentation, now you know me, so.
We have this bug and people mostly complaining. I kind of have some capacity to help, but I understand that from Flutter's team side, the capacity is not so huge. And all the complexity is Discord channel. But I will try to manage it. I won't stop.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, question from online. What are some of the features you'd like to see added to Flutter in the next 6 to 12 months? I guess we can be unrealistic here. So let's be honest.
So something I built a page turn sort of effect. And to do a page turn effect with widgets, you actually need to capture an image of the widgets to then essentially paint it with a shader to sort of page turn it. What I'd like to see is the filter image part of Impeller support shaders in the pipeline, basically. So that means that you can then just append your shader and actually have your widgets moved in that way and still be all that they are and not be an actual capture of an image.
Okay. Anyone else?
I want. I would love for the impeller support on Android to, be finalized, or at least a first iteration on that. I would love to continue exploring on that. Also, I love the 3D support that you can bring inside Flutter natively. I also saw the talk from Cynthia and Miguel yesterday, and it was like mind blowing about like Flutter and Firebase support on Windows native applications. I'm so ready to go back home to start playing with some of those things, but I would love for those to be out there already. So yeah, those are like my top things right now.
Definitely multi-window as well.
Yeah,
I'm
multi-window,
so
yes.
looking forward to multi-window on desktop.
Yeah, that'll be cool. That's gonna be neat.
I have some more like low-hanging fruit that I would really love, and that is better testing coverage of the Canvas API on for Impeller, because everything always breaks when you're working with the Canvas now, when you're doing it in Flame. So that would be great, so not get all those regressions on the Canvas all the time in Impeller.
Cool, thank you. Anyone in the audience got a question? Yeah. Should we go this side? Sorry, I feel like I've been that side a lot. Let's go over it. This way.
Where?
Hi, any plans on Navigator 3?
Navigator
Any
3.
plans on Navigator 3?
I think we got enough complexity with Navigator 2. Thanks.
Yeah.
I did actually do a talk on Navigator 1 and 2, and they both have their places. There's really good packages out there that are doing stuff with Navigator 2, which essentially is Navigator 3 in a sense that it's simplifying a complex API to give everyone everything they need. So hopefully that solves everyone's problems.
Thank you. Does anybody know about the embedded platform stages with Flutter? So embedding, I'm guessing, on the web. That means.
Oh, is that the web embedding?
I'm assuming so.
Well, you've got the IoT sort of embedding, which is what Roman's been doing.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. It could be either.
We'll answer both.
I know nothing.
Okay.
I haven't played like that much with that either, but yeah, I see that's coming, but yeah.
If you do want to play around with the actual Flutter engine embedder, there is a wiki page, and you, if you want to know, you can go into your SDK directory. You'll find engine.stamp. It's a file which has the hash of the Flutter engine that you're actually using on your machine. You fill it in the URL, and you can actually download the embedder package, which contains the C++ header files and the DLL file if it's Windows, or the dynamic library for Mac, and then you can start playing around with like C# or C++ and playing around with embedding with Flutter into your own like Python apps or something. You can do all that kind of fun stuff.
Cool. Thank you. Anyone else from the audience?
One up the front right here.
Yeah, there's a front row one down.
Hi. About testing and the framework, I'm curious, can we contribute just tests? Because I noticed like if you contribute a PR, it has to be linked to an issue. Can we just like on the fly notice like, okay, this test coverage is a little bit low here, it could be improved. And then do we have to submit issues first? Because I think on GitHub, they all have to be linked PRs and issues.
Yeah, I don't see a reason why you couldn't submit just tests. They'd just be accepted by like any other code change. There is also a separate tests repo. So for all of you out there that actually have tests in your apps, you can actually submit those to the repo. And each time Flutter does a major release, they'll test it against all of those test cases to make sure they didn't break any of your apps. But they don't know that unless you submit your tests. So please submit your tests.
Yeah, I don't see any problem in writing an issue for what test coverage that you want to improve and things like that.
Yeah, because definitely lack of test coverage. If it's really a gap somewhere, that is an issue. But I think it's like what we talked about earlier. You'd probably want to make sure that that it really there's agreement that it really is a gap in the coverage before you went and spent too much work on it.
Yeah.
And that even goes again along back to the previous question. What are ways of contributing? This is a way to contribute.
Absolutely, it is.
Okay. How are we doing for time? Oh, 20. Wow.
Okay, we have questions back. Hey, thank you, Majid. Yeah. Yeah, we've got a question back here. If you want to come down.
Yeah, sure.
Are there any plans for supporting the Apple Watch as a platform for Flutter?
Just to repeat that, is there any support for Apple Watch for Flutter?
Yeah. Google? Yeah, exactly.
No,
Pass.
I mean, not no to
Yeah.
the question. Just don't ask me that.
but if you were at the gadget corner, you saw that I'm actually coming up with something really similar to that. So you can roll out your own Flutter watch by playing with those Flutter embedded small little boards, and even like those tiny screens that I showed over there. So again, the sky's the limit. You can even try to propose your own Flutter watch. So that's a way to start. But since we some of us don't work at Google, we don't have any insights on that. Even though I've asked that question a lot, again, there's no like works at the moment for that. Yeah.
I do wonder if it supports web apps, because you got Flutter Web, right?
Or just swap to an Android watch. It runs great there.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Take one from online. Can I use variable fonts in Flutter?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Is it simple as yes?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, you can.
Stick it in the
Yeah.
PubSpec YAML, and
Yeah,
away you
yeah.
go.
Next
Okay,
question.
great. That's all we need.
like the other fonts, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Anyone from the audience? Is anyone at the back?
Yep.
Yeah.
Has
Yeah.
anyone experimented with Flutter and app clips?
App clips, you're talking about the small instant download.
Yes.
Yeah. A long time ago. I don't know how big the Flutter engine is now, but they were increasing the limit of the app clips, because at one point it was 8 meg, and that was pretty limiting. You basically need to ship the Flutter engine in your app clip, which is, it has an you have I think it's about 4 meg overhead, which, if you're limited to 8, that's not a lot of room. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be possible though.
Aside from that, I also want to continue playing with Flutter support on the the iOS the little tiles. Like I know Leah had like a really great post about that. Leah from the Flutter team, and that's something that maybe you can also explore aside from the clips. Because if you want to create like more engaging experience and bring Flutter applications, like the data, how you display your data for your users in innovative ways. So like tapping on those capabilities makes your application like makes it different from others out there. So that's something to tap into also.
You can actually also deliver a web app, right? So you can deliver an instant
You
web
can
app
also do
experience
apps.
from
Yes.
a URL, from a QR code, or NFC, whatever.
Yes.
And that can be your sort of directed effort into your application, because then
yes.
you can have your download from the App Store and that kind of promotion to take you the next step.
Cool. Okay. Is there any official documentation for TV platform support? As Roman has done, should I ask that?
I'm looking at him.
I don't think there's any official documentation.
Yeah, like
on that.
Apple support, Apple TV or Android TV or any of those.
I guess any.
I mean, I don't know of any specific
Yeah, me neither.
documentation.
Not specific on that.
But I know it's possible because I've done it.
Or you can, find a hacky way to get to that, like in the gadget corner, like I showed, where you can have like a mini PC stick. You can just plug it on the TV and you can run Flutter natively on that type of stick, and then that way you have Flutter on the TV. That's again a backdoor way to get to a TV. Yeah.
So if you've done it, Simon, why has that knowledge not been shared in a PR to the community?
Don't look at me.
That's a serious question.
I need more time. Can I get a clone, please?
Yes.
Only one.
More.
Cool. Anyone from the audience? Okay, we go on there. We've not had one from this side.
Going through the line, what's your favorite Dart 3 feature?
Start that side.
I remember the talk from yesterday.
Wait, this one. I'm like coming up. I've been using it a lot,
well,
and I'm like, this is a Dart 3, the most used feature.
Just that.
I'm trying to think. What was it?
I was gonna say I really like the idea of using. There's an index.
Oh, you took it from me, man. That's the indexed. Yeah, of course. That's the one. Yeah.
Yes.
There's an indexed getup that's
Yes,
been
that's
added
the
to
one, yeah.
lists, and that returns back and maps. You returns back the index.
It gives you
along
the
with
index of the
item.
loop. Yeah.
And
that's
then
the
if
one.
you
I
use
love it.
pattern matching, you can actually extract those two parameters straight out into variables. So you can actually have your index, key, and value directly in a for loop in your UI, which is really handy.
And that's the one I was about to say. But for example, like you can adopt, records and patterns right now. But if you don't need it, you don't have to use it. But when I saw this one, the one index, it simplifies the way that you even do loops, and you get that index. You do the for in, and then before you used to need to create like a separate variable and keep the count in there.
Yeah.
With this one, you just get it straight into it. I love that one.
If you do it in performance critical pieces of your software, you should watch out because it is less efficient than doing a for loop directly. There is a full talk about that on Flutter and Friends by Slava. But most of the times when you write apps, you're not in a tight loop or anything like that.
Exactly.
So most of the times you're fine.
Yeah, I enjoy that too because I'm an old C programmer, so int I equals 0, I less than whatever length. That's fine with me. It works well with me. But using the index it just reads so much better for everybody else looking at the code.
Yeah.
And not have, and it also lets you not have to have a numeric index.
Yes.
Which is the other thing that would happen with that.
Exactly.
I actually like the. I would go with that actually for my favorite, but to try to give something different that I think is pretty cool. I think it reads well in cases where you can use the new switch to return, to set the value, and you have all this stuff in there. I'm not even sure what that feature is called, but yeah. So where you if you have switch like for example for an enum, and you can go through all of that and just assign the value you need for it.
Oh, that's a switch expression.
The switch expression.
Yeah.
That's the one.
See, thank you.
I also like the new class modifiers. At least you can write explicitly interface, base class and whatnot. I like that.
Yeah, I would go with the pattern matching and destructuring. I think.
Yeah, I think I like specifically from pattern matching the object patterns, and then being able to destructure properties from objects. It just makes it like you don't have to do all the. It just reduces how much code you're writing by so much. It's really nice.
I'm going to add a completely irrelevant fact to this. Just a sort of shout out to say don't use final on classes that are in libraries, because it means that anyone that wants to use your library can't extend the classes. They can't, take that functionality further. So if you're going to have a library in your code or have a module, you probably don't want to put final classes in there.
Although in all fairness, that's why the final's there to prevent that.
To prevent
in your own code, sure.
Yeah.
Well, you can look at the Flutter team now. They're gonna restructure how they use the vector math package, and they're gonna make all the classes sealed. And now we cannot extend them in Flame anymore. Thank you.
I think you disagree with the reasons, and you can definitely not do it and make that choice. But I think that's why they did it, was to, so you would have some knowledge and control from that. Yeah.
To completely lock it. No.
There's nothing more annoying than having to take a class and copy it into your code base or fork something just to remove a keyword because someone put that in there.
I agree with that.
And one of the flexible things that I've really liked about Dart is just to take a class and go, okay, implements this class. Now I've got an interface, right? Just give me that kind of flexibility with the language.
But if you're using sealed, for example, it's not only to prevent your users from doing something with it. It's also, you can do a lot of compiler optimizations when you have a sealed class.
Yeah, I was just talking to someone on the team about this yesterday, and I think that's the reason why. That's why.
Cool. Okay, thank you. I believe that's time, is it? Okay.
Last question.
A last question. Okay, we'll take it from the audience. Over this side, Darren, because I've been asking for a while.
Give him the exercise.
Hi. So Android has this dynamic module installations, and in Flutter, last time I checked, it was still experimental. So do any of you know if this is going to be stable, or is it stable yet? Is it in the works?
So was it dynamic module?
Dynamic module installation.
Installation.
I'm not aware of that.
I mean, you've got dynamic library loading.
Yeah. So a
Is-
part of the app, you don't download instantly, but
Oh,
download later.
deferred
at
imports.
some point. Yeah.
Deferred imports. I mean, it exists.
Yeah,
You can use it.
But it is stable, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unstable. You can use it. There is also a section of the Dart documentation which specifically states dynamic components is the name for it. It's not supported in all the platforms, as far as I know. Not all the platforms support it, but I think web and Android definitely support it.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, the Flutter gallery example app they've got. I think it's the gallery one. That's like every page of that is a deferred import because
Right.
otherwise it would take a very long time to load.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I believe that's time with questions. Cool. Yeah, thank you everyone for your questions. Yeah, I guess, and thanks for the. Do you want to say any closing words quickly, or?
No, I was just going to say we're going to have a closing here after this, right?
Pardon?
Are we going to have a closing for the conference?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
It will be back at the normal time next week, right?
Okay, same time next
Yeah,
week.
next
Find
week.
us on YouTube next week.
Yeah, on YouTube next week, normal time.
Yeah, not the same time.
Yes, yeah, normal time.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Flutter experts.